David Banner declares he won't do any business with a man that cheats on his wife.
If you're not loyal to your wife, then why the hell should you be loyal to him as a business partner?
Some people, they don't cheat on their wife, but they cheat on their taxes. I don't know the two are necessarily transferable.
Toxic masculinity won't allow most men to agree with him just because it sounds better and cooler to say bros before hoes.
Mase told his girl, listen, if you're really serious about being with me, put your money where your vagina is and buy your own ring.
Those same relationship, they're then wondering why the men ain't showing up the way they want them to show up. It's because he ain't want you in the first place.
But if I have to buy my own ring, baby, don't trip. It might even be cheaper than what you were going to buy. But I'm going to wear it to the next man's house.
It's not about money. It's about timing.
Amy Luciani, she was recently married to Dwight Howard for a number of months, and they ended up trying to get a divorce.
I think that she's well within her bounds to admit that she made a mistake.
If I had that kind of Dwight Howard money, I wouldn't even get married. You're just going to have to take being my longtime girlfriend.
I believe she realized, I'm not going to get that half that I thought I was going to get. I figured I only had to invest 6 months, and now she had to circle the block. Welcome to yet another episode of the BLC Pod. So guess what? First off, I got to give a shout out to Nick Nice, who is currently celebrating his birthday in someplace hot and warm and tropical. We see you and we know you're going to be catching the show. So for those who's already been tapping in, we've been watching the comments. We appreciate your input. Keep it coming. We love the hate. We love the support. And for those who are new to the episode, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, hit the notification button so you know when we're here, and comment, because we all about the comments. We are checking them out. But more importantly, we also got the merch. So as you can see, I'm toxic, not toxic. There's clearly a difference. Check out the BLC store, which is www.blcstore.com to get your own merch. Holiday season is coming, so Black Friday, check out the sweaters, the t-shirts, the mugs. We got something for everybody. But with that being said, while Nick Nice is not in the building, we do have somebody else in the building. So let me go ahead and kick it over because we're going to do this ladies first. But I got to do it like this. Ooh, ladies first. Yes, I recognize I'm tone deaf.
Ladies first.
Hey.
I got all my people here. I'm excited to see y'all. What's up, y'all? It's Tia B. I've been gone for a little bit, but definitely happy to stop in and fill a little space for you and talk a little shit while we're here. So looking forward to kind of getting our old thing back and feeling the groove with my people.
Yes, I'm super excited. So if you see me smiling and cheesing, it's because it's ladies first. With that being said, I'm also a little jelly because if I know better, I would think Just Jay, aka Mr. Good Woods, is somewhere tropical and warm too.
Well, I'm glad you know better and shush all those rumors. You know what I'm saying? I'm no place different. Move along, people. Nothing to see here. I am under the weather. You hear my voice is going out. But I could not miss the opportunity to talk to my people. So I'm going to struggle through and do what I can do. Because, if I ain't doing the BLC part, what am I doing really? You know what I mean? But I do want to talk about, just before we really get into it, Shahrazad Ali, right? You might not know her by name, but you should know her by her perspective because, guys, she said something that may be an unpopular opinion. She says that women should go and intentionally seek out and talk to the other woman if their husband has like a side chick or something, and they should get to know her, and not for the smoke. The wife should get to know the side chick or the other woman so she can learn to understand what her husband loves and values about that woman. Now, I know it may seem to some of y'all like weakness, but to me, it sounds like wisdom because what she's really doing is get a better understanding of her man. So shout out to Shahrazad Ali. I'm glad to be back with the crew. I'm glad for us dropping some nuggets like she be dropping and even better. Let's go with it.
So I love that, dropping nuggets, dropping expert advice, which brings me to Delvin the Expert. What up, though?
What's going on? I'm glad to be back for another episode. Glad to have Tia B back with us in the lineup. Appreciate that for blessing us with her presence. You know what? I'm not on vacation, as you can see, but I am getting ready for Halloween. We're doing some, big Halloween stuff. We're going to have fun and trick or treating, and hopefully I'll get some cotton candy and popcorn balls and all kinds of good stuff. Cause I just had my teeth done, so it's time to eat all the sugary treats from the kids. So, and you know what? Speaking of the good advice Shahrazad Ali was giving, right? Very good gems. And that's a much better alternative than the great divorces that have been going on. Meet your man's side chick instead of getting divorced in your 50s and 60s. Listen, putting that half-century-old ping and coot back on the market, it's not good. You guys go lay down, take a nap, get some tacos or something. You don't want to get back out here. The last time you guys were dating was the 99 and 2000. It's changed. It's not good out here, okay? Just go have a nap. Don't do no great divorce. Just meet your man or, meet your brother husband if she's got a side man. Because, we're equal opportunity. We like equality at the BLC pod. That's what I'm about. So no great divorce. Go take a nap. Take Shahrazad Ali's advice.
So I love that, the no grade divorce. As a matter of fact, the reason why I love it so much is because, look, the geriatric community, we care. If no one else cares, we care. We support this. We want you to know there's nothing but love over here. And speaking of nothing but love, I got to give a shout out to Haley Bailey and DDG. They have done something that most adults apparently do not know how to do anymore, and that's drop the joint and mutual restraining orders that they had against each other and come together for the sake of their child. And I just got to shout them out for that, because this is what it looks like when adults decide to be adults. And these are young adults. So first we got great divorces. Now we got young adults actually doing the adult thing. And so kudos to them. As far as I'm concerned personally, it's been an interesting week, lots going on. And as you know, lots going on in the economy as well in America in general. So hopefully we're going to tackle some of those topics in this coming up. So what do we got coming up?
Well, I'd like to kick it off with something that I thought was really weird, right? And I don't say weird. Let me just say it made me. It's funny because the guy's name is David Banner that I want to talk about, right? And in this case, he's not seeing green, right? See my Hulk joke? Okay, maybe you didn't. My point is, David Banner declares, right? He won't do business, y'all. He won't do any business with a man that cheats on his wife, right? He says he found out you cheating on your wife or you have cheated, the business is over. He's not going to do anything with you. It's squashed right there. And his reasoning is, he's like, if the person sleeping next to you can't trust you, how is he supposed to trust you? Now, is he like getting in other people's business? Is this an unrealistic expectation to place on your partner? Are you like combining personal and business when it should just be business? Why is male discipline like a weakness while toxic loyalty gets praised, right? And can you be a high-value man if you're a cheater? Like, are those two things mutually exclusive? Or do they go hand in hand? I've heard people say cheating is a rich man's game. What do you think?
I'm super excited about this. I actually think that this is a great look for David Banner. I believe that men shouldn't cheat. And I think this is a good idea simply because if his stance was, if you're not loyal to your wife who has birthed your children, who you lay next to, then why the hell should you be loyal to him as a business partner? I also think that we need to think about this idea of loyalty. It isn't outdated, right? It's just uncomfortable for people who lacks discipline. Let's be loyal to the person who committed to you, because she ain't have to. The only people who need to commit to you is your mama and your children. She ain't have to commit to you. She chose you. She wanted you. So yeah, let's go ahead and be loyal. Also, I also think this kind of touched on the fact that mainstream society always act like all men cheat. And that may not be the case. Like, let's normalize that not all men cheat. As a matter of fact, I think it speaks to society excusing men's behavior when they do cheat, right? Versus saying, hey, this is not about, because to me, cheating is about opportunity, right? Versus ego is cheating. Matter of fact, cheating is opportunity and ego now that I think about it. So basically, strength comes in restraint. So go ahead, man, be strong. Show how strong you are and be restrained. Show restraint.
I'm going to jump on in then, since we said it's ladies first all night tonight. So I actually have to agree, but I'm also a person who tends to stand on the side of righteousness, right? It's not that he said if you like multiple partners or you're ethically non-monogamous or you're poly, that he's not okay with you having those alternative lifestyles. He said, if the one person in the world that you stood before God and said vows to is the one person that you would lie, cheat, and steal joy from, then how could I expect you just to treat me when I'm just a regular old person to you. We might be friends. We have no bond or commitment like you do with your partner. So I actually I'm one of those people, because if you cheat on your husband and we're friends, it's like, damn, you probably snaking me too on the under, because why wouldn't you? Because my role to you is definitely is definitely less valuable than what your partner is to you. So I get it. I think that toxic masculinity won't allow most men to agree with him just because it sounds better and cooler to say bros before hoes, right? It sounds great, but you ask a man who's lost his wife over cheating. You ask a woman who's lost her husband over cheating, does it feel like it was a worthy experience? And ask them what their friends thought too. Because I've left relationships based on my friends' opinions of my partners when I was younger, just once, but it happened. And I remember thinking damn, they're judging me because my man did this to me and this is how I have to react. It's like, don't make me look stupid. Let me know what you're doing. Say that we need to be open. But if you cheat, I'm not trusting you either. You can't be in my crew.
We got to have a little subtlety in here just because David Banner's not really, I kind of agree with his general overall tone, but he's got to take into account too. Most men aren't going to say, hey, Jay, listen, man, look, my wife ain't giving me no buns in 9 months. So, I mean, that's just an uncomfortable thing for most men to admit. So I'm going to cheat and doing my thing on the side, because you can't really cheat on your roommate because she 9 months out the game, But I think there's some other issues that could stem from the cheating because people just say, "Oh, you should just leave." Look, Dave, we got to not be silly. It's not that simple. You have the money, you got the kids, you might have investments. It's not as just simple as breaking up with your girlfriend and unfollowing her on Instagram. So, unfortunately, sometimes cheating, quote unquote cheating, is the only out. That's the only choice left to the person. So I think there's a little more nuance there's got to be kind of taken into account. I'm not responsible for anybody else's soul other than my own. I get his overall point, but let's be honest. There's some people they don't cheat on their wife, but they cheat on their taxes, or they don't cheat on their wife, but I don't know, they still pins from work. I don't know. I don't know the two are necessarily transferable. It could be, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. So I think there's just a little more nuance in there, but that's my take.
Delvin, you raised a very interesting point, right? Because I hear the ladies are saying, and I hear about, if he cheated on her, what's he going to do to me? I do that argument, okay? And we can make that argument with anybody who treats anyone a certain way we don't think we would like to be treated. And it's possibly a valid argument. And Devin, I hear what you're saying, there are sometimes extenuating circumstances, but I have to sound like I'm agreeing with the women, even if I'm not, right? And here's why. Because I do look at what you said about, a person could cheat on their taxes, or a person could cheat on this and cheat on that. But a person cheating on their spouse, it shows a couple of things, right? And I'm no judgment, I'm saying? No judgment. I'm just facts right here. It shows that this person can be right next to someone and deceive them. They can have somebody who's with them 24/7 or so much, someone who's with them more time in the day, knows their habits, knows their tactics, knows their tells, and they can still actively deceive this person. It also shows that this is a person who, if they're in a situation where they feel like they may have negotiated certain understandings, however they feel about that situation may then change how they function in that relationship or in that agreement, even if it's a business contract, without them notifying the person that they are moving different. That can be a very costly thing. That can cost you millions of dollars. That can cost you your professional reputation. That can ruin your brand. So, I do feel like him saying, men are cheating on their wives, it seems like low-hanging fruit, right? But there's something different about a person who can cheat on a person or deceive a person who is with them enough to be able to tell the difference and their ability to be duplicitous to that level, or their ability to completely switch up on their previous agreements because now they feel some type of way without having the communication, right, to address it and to bring it out in the open. So that's my point. I mean, David, we're not really a fan of what you're saying, but I do think we should all be pushing for more accountability. We should be putting for more transparency and more loyalty. So, yeah, I guess I got to roll with him on this one. I fucked with it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
And really quick, I think it's not completely altruistic on David Banner's point because if your business partner is going through a nasty divorce, that could put the business in jeopardy. If that's your business partner, the wife may get half. He could get sucked into litigation. So I think from that standpoint, I get it. I understand it, but it's not this completely altruistic. I'm just worried about your marriage and black glove and saving you guys' soul. Now that part I'm a little sketchy on.
So I'm just going to add one last piece to this then and say I support everything that Jay just said. As a matter of fact, I even support what you just said in regards to the nuances of the whole, hey, we don't know what that person may be going through later on. So they could have started off in a relationship as a business partner, and then later on, this person may have cheated. So at that point, does he then turn around and say, I can't mess with you? You can't be my business partner because I discovered that you did this? And how is he discovering it? Was he told of this? So it's like, is he playing FBI spy to find out what's happening in this other person in his partnership? And so I do agree that while I support the statement 100%, I do understand that there are nuances that may not necessarily be what he pretends it to be, right? So I do understand that. So, but still, I still support the message. Don't cheat. So, anyways, with that being said, what's the next up on this agenda? Speaking of cheating and whatnot, or is it not cheating?
Well, you know what? One way to make sure somebody doesn't cheat or your girl doesn't cheat, and to make sure she really wants to be with you, is to make her buy her own ring if she is serious. You know, as we say, Jay, purse first, ass last. So Mase told his girl, listen, if you're really serious about being with me, if you really want to lock it down, you serious about marriage, okay, cool. Put your money where your vagina is and buy your own ring. So is that going too far? Is buying your own ring the equivalent of getting down on one knee or proposing to a man? Is that doing too much? I mean, what do you guys think? Ladies, this is kind of your wheelhouse. So would you buy your own ring?
So I'm a traditional hell no. I'm not buying my own ring, and I don't expect. And if I got to buy my own ring, we're going to keep it moving because you can kick rock, sir. The way it's supposed to work is you don't even have to get down on one knee. I'm good with you not getting down on one knee, but the ring indicates intent. And if I got to buy my own ring, that means you had no intentions per se of marrying me, because ultimately men are always saying that they're the predators. I put quotation marks on that, but the pursuers, let's put it in the kind of gentler words. They're the pursuers, like they're supposed to pursue the women. They're supposed to do this. And so now I got to buy my own ring, because if you truly pursue and you want to see me as your wife, then you should basically seal the deal, right? Give me the proposal. However, what I will say is if I have to buy my own ring, and then, yes, I will feel like I'm proposing to you. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get down on that one knee. You know what? Matter of fact, let me carry you across the threshold.
That's a fact.
Because you want me to buy my own ring. And so therefore my intentions is pure. But then what does that mean about your intentions? I think that later on, when we find that men, and you'll notice this a trend where a lot of women are proposing to men, right? And I'm not knocking those who doing it. If that's your thing, hey, do you, boo. But those same relationship, they're then wondering why the men ain't showing up the way they want them to show up. It's because he ain't want you in the first place. That's why you had to buy your own ring, because you still a placeholder. I do not support it in any shape, way, or form. I actually think that he could have said it in a different way. I actually think this was a way for him to delay that, basically tell her like, yo, I don't really want to marry you, but hey, let's see how much effort you're willing to do, how many hoops you're willing to jump so that you can get this marriage proposal here in place. So nope, hard pass. And ultimately, I feel like if a man can't invest in the front end, especially going from a traditional model and standpoint, then what's the chances of him investing throughout the relationship? What are the chances? What type of message is he sending if he's not even willing to take that first step of saying, you know what, you're the person I want to be with. Let's do this engagement ring. Now they doing the 50-50 thing. Hey, yeah, she can put in on it. Cool. Hey, a matter of fact, let me go pick the ring out and we can put it on the payment plan together, depending on the type of ring I want to get, because it shouldn't be a financial deficit for the guy either. So I just say equality, because that's what men we yell at. Oh, it's equal times. But equality does not mean chivalry should stop, right? It doesn't mean that you can't be romantic. It doesn't mean there's so many things that you can still do and be. And it starts with, guess what? Propose to me. Otherwise, kick rocks.
I'll just go ahead, ladies first, just going to ride the wave. Since when did we start taking advice from Mase? I mean, there are so many things I can say before that wouldn't be so nice, but that kind of just sums it all up. Like, we did not ask for this, Mase. We didn't ask for you to be the guru of marriage or intention or leadership, nor did we expect it from you because you've had so many of your own personal faux pas, but we'll just go ahead and move past it. Nonetheless, I will say this. I believe that the wedding ring is a symbol of intention, just like SNM said. I do believe that there's some validity to people or men being worried about it being a status of, some big show or for clout that people are utilizing. Like, he bought me 12 carats and all of that, right? Because some of them think they need that, right? So I get in those moments, maybe setting some boundaries about the what and the how much and what looks like feasibility. But one, if you're rich and you're a rapper and you're doing all these things and you have on $15,000 shoes, yeah, you sound stupid telling a woman who you're dating to go and buy something for herself. And then if I'm buying it for myself, then that's cool. I'll just buy it for myself as I walk to the next nigga, because why would I be sitting around waiting on you to let me treat myself good and thinking that I'm going to spend 52 years with you and your leadership only leads me in a circle back to myself of solving my problems and fixing my own things and buying my own things? Like, where does the I adore my wife so she can supplicate and be submissive in the way I want her to come into play? Because y'all always hollering about leadership and women not wanting to give in and all that shit. But if I have to buy my own ring, baby, don't trip. It might even be cheaper than what you were going to buy, but I'm going to wear it to the next man's house. And that's just it.
There y'all go. They're missing the point, right? You guys immediately assume it's about money. It's not about money. It's about timing. What he's saying is, if you can't wait for me to do this thing in my timing as a leader, okay, then you up and do it yourself then. Then mean so much you to have it and not to get to the point where I want to give it, then give it to yourself. Yes, ma'am, boo, go ahead and do that, right? Even if you want to give it to yourself and walk yourself down to the next dude, because I'm not ready, maybe he is. He said, if you want that bad, go get it for yourself. Otherwise, submit to my timing, submit to my leadership, submit to my wisdom of knowing when is the time and when's not the time. Maybe I got a surprise planned, right? Maybe I'm building up to something. But definitely, I don't want to be pushed, okay? You cannot dictate this, right? Now, I want everything else y'all said about, hey, we can chip in together and, because it doesn't have to be about money. But what it does have to be about is who is setting the rhythm of the drum beat for this relationship. And ma'am, if you want to be the drum major, yes, go buy your own stick. Go ahead, Delvin. I'm done here.
Man, listen, that was fire. That was church right there. I don't know that buying the ring herself, although it is a good gesture, I don't think it's going to catch on because they tend to not like that stuff. They prefer to invest over time and not so much on the front end. Totally get that, because we're going to be tradition. But you know what? S&M's been working out, and the carrying over the threshold, you got to do your squats, and you got to make sure your back is strong. So, ladies, if you are going to carry that man over the threshold and you're going to buy your own ring, make sure you've been hitting the gym and lift with your knees and not your back, because that's going to not end well.
Okay, so I just want to push back a little bit on what Jay said really quickly. And he said that it was all about timing, maybe in the real world, but that's not what Mace's story was. His story was like, I want to see if this is what she really wants to do. If she really wants to do it, then I need her intentions to be there, because not that it wasn't his time, it wasn't on his time. He just wanted to see if she was willing to go do it, to see how serious she was about being married or getting married. So I just want to clarify that point. Now, in the real world, outside of Mace bubble, then in the real world, I can see a man say, no, it needs to be on my time. And if it's not on my time, let me be the lead and propose, because ultimately you're saying it's your time to lead and propose versus, and if she's not willing to be on your time, and that's actually still being traditional. So You were traditional and agreeing without knowing that you was being traditional and agreeing. I support that.
Can I say one more little thing? One more
Okay,
little
because I'm
thing.
clap back. Go ahead, say your little thing. Go ahead.
I saw you building up
Not
to it.
your
I was
little
like,
thing.
before we go so far. Oh. I don't think it has anything to do with timing. I think certain men love to make women bend. And I see more of that in kind of this dynamic. It's almost like a challenge to this whole independent leadership thing. Well, you want to be married? Well, buy your ring then. Not realizing that it literally goes against everything that masculinity and leadership and wanting someone to follow you. It literally goes against those things. And so I think we all get very well what Mase is saying. And I'm also wondering, like, what type of women are men dating that would even listen or validate this for him to think that it's actually factual? Again, Mase, we didn't ask for it. Again, just go ahead.
Okay. I'm just going to say this and I'm going to move on. Okay. So, yes, in the global sense, I'm saying it's a matter of timing. Even in Mase's sense, it's still a question of where's your value, right? Do you value being chosen or do you value being able to tell your girlfriends, I got a man, I got a ring? Right? If you value being chosen, then that goose girl sit there and wait for me to get two on the head until you eat your pie. Right? If the value is being chosen, if the value is being picked, or as SNM said, being caught by that predator or whatever, okay? Otherwise, if you want to look like you're desirable, then sprinkle some ketchup on you and lay down and get your own ring. Because that's what that looks like. That's what that looks like. Man, it's funny though, right? Because I think Mason's probably like a 70s baby, okay? And there's a study out that's saying that since the 70s, men have become, they've gotten holding a ring longer and longer to get married. Like now they might wait like 5 years before they pop the question. So I don't know, maybe Mason's that generational middle part where he was part of that group that was like, hey, we got to hold on here. But there's a study now. And I'm saying men are marrying longer than ever. 5 years later, they may wind in the 70s. So my question to you, before my voice goes out, right? Because I'm holding the mic now. Excuse me. Is this delay about maturity or is it about mistrust? Is it about timing or is it about I'm just not sure about her? Are women ready sooner than men? Just option P. Are women ready sooner than they used to be? Because marriage is not a static something that we need over, trying to catch up with somebody for whatever reason, right? Are men starting because they have more options? You got the red pill guys, passport bros, right? Men are wanting to go the whole world and go to England for a potential mate, right? So maybe the pool's just bigger, right? Does waiting longer lead to a better marriage, to more commitment, to someone who's more sure, right? Or is it just somebody stalling for time? Like, what do you guys think? Is it part of the solution or is it part of the problem? What's your thoughts?
I think your voice is leaving because it's a bunch of bullshit. That's what I think. I think your voice doesn't even want to let you say the bullshit that you were saying. That's why you had to pick up the thing and scream into it, because your voice wouldn't even let us understand the words that was coming out of your mouth.
That's so
Come
mean.
on. We absolutely, I'm so sorry. I love you. But I mean, you're validating, fuck shit. And sometimes it's like, we just have to call it what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a matter of fact, I'm going to need you to, I know you're passionate, but I'm going to need you to keep that mic a little lower because you're so passionate. You started sounding a gurble for a second. And I was like, I understand the gurble, even through the gurble. I was like, oh, I get his point. His point is that men are on fuck shit years later. That's what his point is. I got it. It's all good. So
You got your TD Jakes cadence going. You was getting riled
right?
up.
I was like, we in church on the wrong thing.
Take me
We
to
in church on the
church.
wrong thing.
Delvin, help me out, man.
Take me to
Hey.
church.
Hey, I was going to tell you, take your time, Pastor.
See? Because you was in church.
Yeah, I was looking for the collection plate. I was going to.
Not swing low, sweet chariot.
Yeah.
I thought you was gonna start going. You know how they have to take that
Yeah,
breath.
I thought you were going to get your little handkerchief and start, kind
Little
of.
bead of sweat starting to roll down your head.
I'm like, let
Don't
the
get
Lord
yourself
work
worked
through
up.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I love it.
But yeah, I
You
think
guys so messy.
yeah, I think to me it's more of economics has a lot to do with it. More people, men and women, are going to college for than they were between 1970 and now. So that's kind of delaying those early years. Most people aren't getting married in college. They're just not. At best, they may get engaged, and that's kind of toward the end of college, right? So that's like your first 4 or 5 years of your 20s. That's kind of shot, right? Then you're getting started in your career. And so that's kind of pushing it out. So you've got all these other life distractions that are kind of keeping you or delaying marriage, right? So, and that's on both ends. That's on both ends. On top of all of that, marriage has really kind of become more of a capstone than a milestone. Okay, we get out of high school, then I go to college, or I just get out of high school, I marry my high school sweetheart, I get a job at the factory, I work there for 40 years. The whole thing is out of whack, right? You could do that in the 70s, at least so I'm told anyway. Now, at the earliest, it might be 25, maybe, but you've been in school, you're getting your career going, you got a little money in your pocket, so you may want to be a city boy for a little bit. So guys are like, hey, listen, I'm going to push this out maybe till about 28. I think 30. For most women, I think their first marriage is about 28, 29, something like that. So I think life is kind of making these things get pushed out further and further. And even, in the 70s, you could be 24 or 23 and buy a house, because a house just cost $700 in a bag of strawberries in 1970. Now the average house is like $500,000, and you have to save up much longer. So even if you guys, we're so in love, we're going to buy a house, it's going to take you years probably to save up for a house, right? So I think life is kind of pushing these things out. I'm not saying that guys being on fuck shit and saying, oh, I want to take it day by day. I want to see something. I want to have raw sex with you for a few years as a friend. I'm not saying that's not happening. I'm just saying I think the bigger piece of it is economic more so than fuck shit. But that's my take.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this. I believe that you are correct in your analysis. And as a matter of fact, because I also like statistics as well, right? And so there's statistics that indicate that, let me take a look. According to the Marriage Project in 2024, 68% of men who delayed marriage stated it was because they're still finding themselves. Whereas compared to only 28% of women stated the same thing. And this may be because women technically mature faster than men. So they're ready for partnership at a much earlier rate, and they're already exploring options for partnership, perhaps a little bit earlier than men. So I can see that coupled with all the financial issues and so forth. But when I hear something like they're still finding themselves, it's like women are ready for connections and men are still downloading updates, right? Because they're like, I'm still finding myself. I'm on 1.0, 2.0. Now, I will also acknowledge that life, especially early in life, you're supposed to be going through the process of evolution, learning and growing. And that could be part of it as well. So I support that 100%. But looking at the fact that women also, strangely enough, because men are getting married later, I think the average age was 30. And now for women is 28.2. I don't know what the 0.2, 2 months, I guess, but 28 and
February.
2 months. And so they're getting married later too, because a lot of them are now focusing on career first and foremost before they do anything else, right? And then so coupled with the men finding themselves. But here's my problem. Now, we hear all these men talk about women ain't good after 35. Their eggs done dried up. They're blah, 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 blah. All these excuses of why they need to date young. But then they date young and waste their time because they wait 5 years later to get married or more than that. Because at this point, they're just using her as a placeholder. And I think placeholder is going to be my word for the night. I feel like that's going to be appropriate for some of this conversation tonight. And what I mean is that all these situationships has been normalized, right? So we're in situationship. There's no real commitment. We want wife benefits, aka we want all these benefits to include kids without actually having the legal requirements of marriage and the legal protection that comes from marriage, because situationships are good. And let's look at the Birdman story, right? Y'all, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but Tony Braxton and Birdman was together for 16 years. 16 years in a situationship. And then They got married, and in less than a year, I think it was only 6 months, as a matter of fact, they are already divorcing. Or was it 6 weeks? I can't remember. But the point is, they spent all that time together and ended up getting divorced as soon as they got married because they enjoyed the situationship. And if that worked for them, then cool. But obviously, marriage isn't for everybody. But if you have a woman who's looking for marriage, then why the hell you keep pushing the situationship to my you ain't ready, when statistically it has actually stated that men actually know within the first 6 months if they think you wife material. Now, I don't know if the statistics has changed because of this latest study here, but they're saying men usually know if they want a wife or you're the wife within the first 6 months. So why are you gonna hold her off for 4.5 years? And at the same time, men are constantly talking about let's build. We want a woman to build with. We want her to be able to build. You want to build a bear. But then at the same time, you holding off marriage. So why can't you build while in the marriage is my question. Because all these millionaires, they did a recent interview. Actually, Cam Newton, I was shocked. He did a recent interview with this millionaire dude. And he was like, all the millionaires that he know, they built with their wives, right? It wasn't let's wait because they recognized that focus, they can have that focus and not chase these women because they was in that relationship. So I'm just going to say, that while one hand, I'm like, yes, men are waiting because they're vetting, but are they really vetting? Are they really vetting, or are they wasting the women time? And I'm kind of leaning towards wasting their time because at the end of it, it don't be no ring because so often we hear, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?
I mean, studies show that there is a larger number of men in nursing homes than women. And the reason for that is that men are more single than women. And so most of them get to a certain age in life and they look back and they determine whether they're happy with life or not. And they tend to realize that being single didn't benefit or, profit them anything. So I like to hear millionaires speaking about the essence in building with their partners because it also stipulates that they're not selfish. Because I know I need a helpmate if I want my family and my kids to be good. I know that I need a good partner if I want to be able to stay out 12, 15, 16 hours and run the business, but I want my house clean. I want my clothes washed. I want my kids fed. I want nookie when I come home that's unquestionable for anything, right? So I think that this whole waiting until and to avoid settling, it's a misnomer. You think that there's going to be instant coochie coupons because you devalue women so much that you feel like they're just going to give it to you as long as they can and as long as your penis works. And that's just not realistic. At some point, you men are equally devalued as you think women are. If our eggs are dried at 35, and as soon as you start having to take the blue pill, the gas station pill, or whatever blue chew that you might need to keep it going, we're looking at you the same way. Like you're 50 and your dick don't work. Like, let's be for real.
I'm going to try to keep my voice to a level where you guys can understand it. Let me crack a little bit, kind of like your argument does. So first, which one is it? Is the man stalling, or is he trying to get together and build? And I think you're missing the point because back in the old days, all you needed was love, right? Paul McCartney was like, all we need is love. Now, no. Now you got to come with your account together. You got to come with some bank. You got to make more money than her so you can take her on vacations and you can cake her. You can take her to all these special places. And that's just in the courtship. Okay? So maybe men need a little more time to get all this stuff together. They talk about devaluing women. Men have to come with their value built up, right? And their value has to be on paper. What do women come with? I cook, I clean, I love you, I'm a boss bitch. What is that? Do they have to come in and have some stocks and get your worth? No. But the man does. He's got to be able to figure out how you're going to get a house and a car and still go on these trips and take care of these kids that you want to have after just 3 months of being married, right? So no, maybe we need a little more time to set the stage for all your unrealistic expectations. Maybe that 5 years is his prep time. And maybe you should give him that. Maybe, just maybe, the relationship will last longer. And we can stop making the argument about peeing and cooch. Okay? You want to give him the cooch? Give him the cooch. You want to wait 3 years? Wait 3 years. He don't want to wait? Go find your guy who's willing to wait 3 years. He'll go find him somebody who's willing to give it to him in 3 weeks. And he can still wait 5 years to marry her. And she'll still understand because she'll be able to see the bigger picture at hand. She'll be able to know that her man has a plan. He is working it. And she will trust him to come through. And she sees him materialize the things that he spoke out of his mouth, just to materialize those things into his world as he prepares a world for her. Sometimes it takes time. Hey, make up your mind, ladies. Okay? Do you want a man you really have to struggle and build with? Or do you want a soft life? Because you can't have both. If you want a soft life, then sit your little soft self down and wait on it. 5 years. I'm off. Go ahead.
So immediate pushback. So what you described was leadership. You described leadership. You want a submissive wife, then what you just described was what's being a leader in a relationship is, as far as how you gonna get that house, how you gonna get that car, how you gonna get this, blah, 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 blah. You describe leadership. And the whole part about cooking, cleaning that, and she's just bringing I love you and all that good stuff, that's because traditionally that's what men had defined previously as far as what they wanted in women or in wives. As a matter of fact, the conversation still to this day continues to be, if she don't cook, she don't clean, she ain't no wife. We just saw a whole video where the woman was like, they told me don't do this, and I did. And to say how she got her ring, and her man was back there co-signing because she talked about how she cooked, how she did laundry, how she did this. And the man was back there co-signing. So we cannot say what you just described sounded like leadership. And at the same time, because men need to make up their minds too, because you just said you wanted somebody to bring something to the table, but then we're being told that they don't care about your college degrees. They don't care that you got your own house. They don't care that they got your own car, because they can bring all that themselves. So which one is it? Do you want the woman that's independent and while still trying to be interdependent? Or do you want the one who wants the soft life and wants you to take care of the thinking and the reasoning and all that good stuff, and she's sitting as a traditional SAHM? So men need to make a decision as well. But otherwise, though, go ahead. I was going to say amen, but then you went wrong.
What you got, Tia?
Okay, so let me clarify, and I'm going to pass the mic. Go ahead, Tia.
Oh, no. No. S&M said it all. I have nothing else to say on this topic because she just schooled you as you contradicted yourself, and she made it a point. So what do you want? You want the independent woman who brings the table, or you want the soft chick who's a gold digger whore who's had 34 niggas before you? Pick your poison.
Speaking of schooling, allow me to still give you guys a lesson. Men are not a monolith. Some men are met while they're already on their journey of progress and they're already establishing things. Some men are met while they're just beginning. Okay, if you're a just beginning man, but you already know the things that you feel like you got to have in your life for it to be complete, the kids, the house, the vacations, the car, the things you can show off to your friends, you now need to sit down and wait, because you wait on somebody to bring it to you. If you're an independent woman, that's a different thing. You already have these things. And if that man's waiting, maybe he's waiting to see what your character is. Okay, men wait for a lot of reasons. They're not monolithic. But patience is a virtue, okay? How about y'all get some of that? Finally, I did talk about the cooking and the cleaning and the I love you, and you're like, oh, guys are saying that that's not that big of a deal. No, what guys are saying is that's still rare, and some of y'all, that's all y'all got. How crazy is that? No, class dismissed. Ring, ring.
Sir, I'm sorry. We're about to go into detention / overtime.
I swear, let me get in detention, please.
Okay, go ahead. I'm going to let you get in detention, and then I want to see because I'll wrap it up for you. Go ahead, Tia.
I don't even know what to take serious or not, because I'm like, what? Men, okay, let me talk to the ladies right quick. Men will date you, court you, pretend to love you, pretend to want to see a future with you, say that your eggs are drying up, say they don't need your money while you spend on vacations and pay the bills and do such, and still not marry you. If a man does not know that he wants you by the things that you bring, not only what you bring to the table, but what you bring in value to the relationship, if it takes him 5 years to figure out whatever, then he wouldn't be able to find his way out of a brown paper bag in the first place. And you should be doing him the favor and setting a boundary for yourself and moving forward. They will have you wait until no one else wants you because your eggs are dry. And they will use you and then say, I found someone. And then in 6 weeks, it's like, it doesn't take that long. I think S&M said it earlier. The game you play with your mind is one that you think that you're pushing off on someone else while she sits and wait because she's supposed to be soft and just waiting for daddy's going to get the fuck out of here. Right? If you don't want me and you just want the relationship value without the actual relationship or longevity, then say that. That way I can give you a quarter of who I am and go look for Mr. Right, not Mr. Right now. So carry on, brothers.
Yes, I love that. And also, I want to answer your question because this is what I like about men sometimes, right? Just sometimes. They will answer their own question because you ask, we need to pick a side. Basically, we need to be this person or this person. Which one do we want? And then your very next statement was, men are not a monolith. And I was like, oh, snap. He don't answer his own question because women are not a monolith either. And I was like, look at you. Kudos, sir. Kudos. I appreciate the fact that you identify immediately and related to men not being monolithic in nature, because now I can go ahead and say that women are not monolithic in nature. So therefore, we can have both of those entities that exist. And you even broke the example down for me. So you're right. Class is dismissed. Thank you for the lesson.
Listen, I got to leap in here because part of the reason I believe that gets often overlooked why guys are waiting, because they need to be sure that they are not going to be punished. And by punished, I mean being taxed for being a decent, loving, God-fearing man with no holes, because we know that women like a guy with a little toxicity. Not 100% toxic, maybe like 80-20, 20% toxic. You got to have a little bit in there. And if you don't have enough, she will punish you, because kind of like the Aisha Curry effect, I think this is a part of that. She's bored. There's nothing happening. And I don't even think it's that you're a great guy. It's that you're a predictable guy. And is there a thing, ladies, because, you guys have to speak for all of women in all of history. Do women punish men for being too kind, too good? I say, he's a good man, Savannah. Why do you punish men for being good? You say you want a guy who loves his mother, who writes poetry, who doesn't cheat on you, who volunteers at the soup kitchen, reads to kids at the library, and you punish him. You say, you're not exciting. You don't do anything that really I need that spark back. Why do you punish men for that? Because we're confused. We're trying to understand.
I'm going to yield the floor to Tia because I've been pretty energetic in answering these things.
I feel like you punted. I feel like you're punting.
I did kind of punt it, but it's because I know what I'm going to say. Y'all going to be like, ah. But I can go ahead and go, though. I didn't even like
just
that.
go, because they're gonna to all of us. So I'll let you take.
I mean,
Right.
I think that's a fair question. Is it the good guy or is it the peen and vibes?
Is it too much to ask for all of it? Am I being greedy by saying I want it all?
Yes,
that's crazy.
Yes.
Listen, and that's crazy because as a woman, I think I bring all the good things to the table and then some. And I can cook. I like to clean and wash clothes, and I'm gonna make you remember me always and long time. So I don't think that I should have to choose. I think I want it all, and so should you. And when you find someone who matches those things and likes the little nuances of who you are, then that's the one that you propose to before 5 years comes up and her eggs are dry.
I love that. So I just want to say this. So sometimes when we talk about the good guy, because, they always like, oh, nice guys finish last and women don't want the good guy. That's not even the case, right? Now, I will admit that there are some women who are silly and they could have a good man and they silly and they chasing some chaos. They are chasing some toxicity. And so therefore they miss out. But I want to do a clear difference because I know we talked in pre-pro about nice guys finishing last. And at the end of the day, it's not even about the nice guy finishing last, because we know some nice guys, and I'm going to put quotation on that, actually aren't nice. You know how you know they're not nice? Because they're expecting their niceness to get them the transaction that they desired from that woman. And therefore, it's no longer a good guy or a nice guy because they're expecting transaction behavior. So because you did something nice for this woman, you're expecting something romantic or you're expecting her to give up the goodies. That's not a nice guy. That's a creeper. That's an asshole. That's a nice guy masquerading under, or actually, matter of fact, let me put it that way. That is a wolf masquerading in sheep's clothing, because ultimately the fact that it becomes transactional, that they're expecting, oh, I was nice. And then let's talk about the nice guy super quickly in regards to the trauma response of the nice guy, by the way. So it turns out in some research, because, I like to do some research too, there was like a lot of nice guys actually is a trauma response to rejection, which is why they cry foul when they're rejected, because they felt like they shaped this character, because it's not even a character, it's a persona. It's a persona that they thought was going to get them, manifest them some coochie, and it didn't manifest that coochie. And then that's when they cry foul and say, oh, nice guys finish last. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a difference between a nice guy and a good guy. So the good guys, like I said, there are good guys out there who some women are silly. Like, damn, girl, you had you a good man doing all the stuff that Delvin talked about, and you was like, oh, no, he just didn't excite me. Well, she was silly because she should have brought the excitement into the relationship. She should have been like, you know what? Let me be that yin versus that yang to pull him out and get him all excited and whatnot. And so for that purpose, I would say, one of the things that they quoted, i.e. that they noted, was that in this good guy, nice guy conversation, that a lot of these nice guys or good guys may not be emotionally available. And a lot of times, just like Tia said, we want it all. We want that. And as a matter of fact, Just Jay, you also stated we want it all. Delvin, you actually described somebody who had it all, right? It's because that emotional availability, being that them being an emotionally safe place while still being exciting. And so I think that's part of it as well. So go ahead, Devin. I saw you come off mic.
Yeah, no. I think Steph Curry is the quintessential have it all guy. So he's just the stand-in for the have it all guy. So shout out to him for that. But Jay, what do you think, man? Are we being punished for being emotionally available in low toxicity? I feel like we are.
I think so. I think there's so much to unpack here. I think first, women do favor they want the security of a good man, but they favor the drama of a toxic man, partially to hide their own toxicity and their own chaos. So when things are going weird in their life, they can point to their dude and not realize that they have a good guy who's keeping everything steady and the chaos is just coming from them. I think that's definitely part of it. I think the other part of it is, I think sometimes these nice / good guys, like you're going to make a distinction, right? Or whatever. I think sometimes they are emotionally unavailable at some point. I think it's because they realize they've been emotionally available to women who did not appreciate that level of vulnerability, that level of transparency. And the women wanted somebody who was going to talk to them crazy, do them dirty. And it was like, I don't know why, I just love him. And that's, you know what I'm saying? It's been that way since some people never grow up. They're like that as kids, they're like that as adults. And to the point, to S&M's point, if you are doing something, hoping for an outcome, then you're not a nice guy. Then every politician who follows through on their promises and delivers to their constituents is not a good politician, right? Because they're actually doing something for the people that the other people want, so they can get reelected. I mean, isn't that kind of how it works? Then why would this be different from anything else, right? You show up in the way you feel like you need to show up to get the rewards of a person who shows up that way. Come on, y'all. Let's not separate the work from the reward. That's all I'm saying. Good guys are pooped on. Women think they're boring. I had a woman tell me that she didn't want to date me because she felt like I was a school teacher, math and science school teacher, and she told her friends, oh my God, I know he's going to be so boring. It's going to be so dull dating him. Hey, girl, look, you can do what you want to think. You know what I mean? I know what's happening over here. And I am a good guy. And I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy because I choose to be a nice guy. Matter of fact, I'm a good guy because I choose to be a good guy. I can do the other things. Most good guys can. To me, I get mad when they do. And then they dog you out. And then you think, oh, only bad guys out here. And there's no, because you guys do want it all. You can't accept a man who is just good and stable and just wants to be your peace in the world, right? He's too boring. He's not dynamic enough. You already know what he's going to do, right? No. And part of it, I'm going to say it's not land. This is the most ridiculous reason. Part of it is because when your girls are talking shit about how whack their man is, you want some shit to participate to the story, and you mad you ain't got nothing to say. And that's just pathetic. It's sad. How about you tell your home girl, damn girl, I'm sorry for you. My man's on point. Maybe he could talk to your man. How about that? Let's try that out. Go ahead. I'm done.
Yeah, how about that, Tia?
Oh, no. Oh, no. You will not pass to Devin. After all that misogyny and bullshit you just kicked, please allow me to represent us right quick on Ladies' Night. First of all, using the example of a politician who completes or makes promises that he gives to people and then finally follows through, does that make him a good politician? No, because you know what he probably was 99 fucking times before he did the one thing that he did? He was a fucking liar. That's literally what, I don't even know why you use that example in today's political climate, where that I just said is absolutely true on both sides of the fucking pew. But let's be very clear. Politicians are not the good example to say of what a man, how people view men and their experience and whether they're good or not. Because if using your example, I would say, oh, well, that absolutely fits the monolith of the idea of the monolith of women that you think agree with you. But let me say this. Let me put my therapy hat on really quick and take off my urban hat just for a second. In reality, both men and women have flaws, right? We all bring something to the table that could or should be valuable for our partners. If you are willing and wanting to make any dynamic work, you would talk and figure out how to do that. It's not about women don't want a man who would do this, and that's why he had to be emotionally hurt by the woman before. And that's why I keep saying it's like so much smoke and bullshit there. I don't even see the trees on fire because it's like, who hurt you? Like, if that is the framework in which you view women, and if that's the framework in which men view women, then you're already at a disadvantage. You already make us question, how do you want women if you think that all of us think like that? Because we don't. Why would there be educated, even uneducated or undereducated individuals in the world who want a partner and who would do, like, who says I don't want a good nigga? Who says that? Even bum bitches want a good nigga, right? What did Kanye say? Like, hood niggas always want, about Wale, excuse me. A hood nigga always want a college girl. That shit is true. Ask me how I know, right? There's a balance to everything if you can find it. I've had hood dudes who are very good dudes. They may be very good sons, good dads, good whatever, but they may not be good partners. I've met very good and intellectual and well-kept women who are horrible wives and girlfriends, right? These things don't always kind of correlate to each other. We conflate it and make it seem like one leads to the other and therefore you're not worthy. But that's not the case. Really what it comes down to is that for whatever reason, we're in this war between black men and black women where all women and all women this, and then be like, shut that shit up. Because in reality, good dude, bad dude, whatever, y'all be on our ass wanting one of us. There's never a moment when a man is not in pursuit. So meanwhile, while you're always talking about the bad things and who cries and who don't cook food and who, y'all be choosing them. Go choose equitable stock. Go choose someone who you find matches your value and stop complaining about reaching too high for a woman that you don't match or compete with, or stop reaching so goddamn low and pulling somebody up in the bottom so you can be pissed and resentful of them and then say how much they're a gold digger and didn't have shit when they came to the table. Like, fix you. Get your shit together and you're going to attract what you put out to the world. Stop generalizing black women and all that shit, because if I start generalizing men, y'all niggas gonna be sick.
Now listen, T, you did give some
First
good
up, go ahead,
advice.
Devin, go ahead.
You did give some good advice to Jay. All the guys to stop dealing with the dirty foots. All right, don't deal with those kind of women. But you touched on it, and Jay, you touched on it as well. And we can't gloss over this. I want to go back to it. Jay, you mentioned that you were assumed to be a certain way, or you would not be a certain way because of your profession. Oh, you're a teacher. You're probably going to be boring. You're going to be lame. You're going to like to read books, and you probably don't read with your finger. You probably do math in pen. Things like that. Are men also punished for that? For being too put together? You got your 401k. You know where your birth certificate is. Your parents love each other. Are men also punished for that in relationships as well, for being like, he's not even too nice, like you're too perfect, you don't have a missing side tooth, things of that nature. You got where all your documents are. Is that part of what works against guys, quote unquote, good men, nice guys as well? The whole he's a good man Savannah thing?
Y'all date women with missing side teeth all the time. So first of all,
That,
y'all like
that's
the snaggle
because
puss. That's what y'all
that's a
like.
plus.
First of all,
That's a
y'all like
plus.
reaching low because you know why? Broke and dirty be good, and we like it. We like dirty feet flip flops because that's what you like. So let's be very clear about it. No, we don't want any of that. We will take blue collar who's working their way up so we can be millionaires together, though.
Yeah, and look, I love my blue collar guys. Shout out to my blue collar guys. The world couldn't work without you. I think what I'm talking about, and Jay, you know this, and T, I think you do too. We're talking about, you got the scammers, the SoundCloud rappers, those guys, the guys who bring your car back on E, because that's exciting. Your car might come back on with a full tank. It might come back on E. We don't know. You just have to find out when you get off from work.
Okay, so I just want to answer that question then as well. So I think a lot of this will be solved if people date within their IQ bracket, if they date within their tax bracket, if they date within their financial bracket, which is still a tax bracket. I think all that will be solved when we're talking about good men, nice guys, because sometimes nice guys get mad kudos just for doing the basic towards women, i.e. respecting a woman's right to be a woman, right? And so then we have the good guy. Like I said, I want to differentiate because of what nice guy could be a straw man. Good guy is something different. So since we're talking about good guys, just date within your tax bracket. Just date within your IQ level. Just date where you get in, where you fit in, and start reaching for either the stars or reaching for the gutter, like Tia said. I think that oftentimes we get so caught up in good guys finish last, when in reality, they actually don't finish last because all women want a good guy. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some folks who like toxicity and chaos, and you can find them on the Real Housewives of Anywhere, as well as a couple of Love and Hip Hop, all of the reality shows you can find them, and that's because they're also chasing the dollar. And so as long as you're not chasing, you find somebody who's not chasing the dollar and you trying to holler, then look, there you go. You got a love match. You a good guy. You respecting women's rights. You coming with basic human decency. Cool. You got a 401k. Cool. You write poetry in the park, like you mentioned earlier, Delvin. Not every woman want poetry in the park, though. I ain't gonna lie. Some
Really?
folks
Wow.
they don't like that.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say, excitement does not necessarily equate to chaos and toxicity automatically. It equates to chemistry. And sometimes men can't tell the difference between chemistry and toxicity or chaos because they assume that they're all one and the same, because sometimes that may show up that way. Like if the woman is constantly nagging you, like, oh, I want you to take me out. I want to do this. I want to try something new. And you don't really want to try something new because it's outside your bandwidth, because that's not who you are. Well, take that as an opportunity to try something new. We recently had a whole meeting with the youth about exposure equals experience. You can't have any experience if you don't have the exposure. So together, y'all can experience whatever it is that you feel like she's chasing, because ultimately she wants confidence and chemistry, as well as all that other good stuff. So good guys, I rebuke the idea that nice guys finish last, because nice guys may finish last because that's their straw man, but good guys never finish last. They always end up on top, be it when they got all their shit together or while they're building all their shit. They going to end up on top some way, somehow. So I see the side eye, Jay. I see the side eye. I think the person who couldn't believe that you as a teacher was going to be born was bullshit. Because you know what? They say the nerds are the freakiest, according to some video I just saw. And as somebody who's attracted to intelligence, I'm just going to say cosign. So with that being said, while we co-signing on things, I just want to know, what are you guys going to co-sign on this? I was going to say bull, but we're going to say this. So recently, there has been multiple videos that have been circulating in regards to coochie management. And more precisely, as many folks know, SNAP benefits are coming to an end on November 1st, as in there will be no SNAP benefits. It doesn't look like there's going to be a way ahead anytime soon to include the use of that emergency fund. That's for the sole purpose of making sure folks can still have the SNAP benefits. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the clips that came out. There was two in particular. The first clip talked about there was a black man walking and he was telling women that the government done broke up with you. Now you're going to find out what it's really like to be a strong, independent woman. And you can't yell, I don't need no man anymore, because now you're going to need a man because the government has broken up. Matter of fact, I wouldn't have been surprised if you like the government broke up with you. But anyways, with that And then there's a second clip where this guy was talking about $40 coochie. He was like, get your checks ready, get your ATM card ready, because coochie about to be on sale, because these women got to keep the food in the fridge. Matter of fact, he said $40 worth of groceries. You don't even have to come with cash anymore. Just come with the groceries and they're going to be happy. So I'm just curious, is this really a win for men? And if so, why? I am dying to know. Why are some men toting this out as a win for them, as well as, was the government subsidizing coochie on the low key? No, I'm just kidding. That's not the legit question. The legit question is, for real, is this a win for men? And why? Why is it considered men? And also, is it going to impact the strong, independent woman narrative in the manner that men think is going to impact it? Or is that strong, independent woman narrative born of something else? What are you guys' thoughts? Go ahead. We're going to start with the men.
I would say, I don't know yet. I don't know yet if it's a win for men, okay? And the reason why I don't know yet, because I don't know how many men were fishing in that pool. I will say it could be a win for men, and that it's going to separate the truly independent women from the fakers, from the ones who were always dependent, always being subsidized by the men, but they were doing it through the back door, having the man pay his taxes, and then getting his tax money from the government so they could use his tax money to support their lives. No, lady, you are not independent. You are not handling your own business, okay? That's not what was happening, and it's about to show up. I also think maybe it's a win for the men because we are in a bit of an economic crunch right now, okay? Men don't have a lot of money to be spinning and balling till they fall right now. And a lot of them don't, okay? And honestly, I don't know. I don't know if the ball part went down or the fall part came up. But there's been a shift, right? So now what it means, the ball is a little different. Now I bet if I take you to McDonald's and if you get some cheese and burgers, I bet you'll be happy now, right? Now it's a good thing, okay? Now if I take you to Winco, get you a little groceries, I bet you'll be happy now. Yes, this $40 coochie coupon is back. It's better than ever. Well, while supplies last. It's back. It's back because a lot of people had built a life around saying they did not need support only because they had institutionalized the support in their lives. They had convinced themselves that because they were deciding for themselves in their life and moving how they want to move in their life and moving independently in their thought, that they were somehow independent women. And you're not independent if you need somebody to bring you a check every month or week or whatever so you can feed your kids, okay? Now, they go to people who are working jobs, right? I'm not saying that these people who are losing their SNAP were like all bums. A lot of them work in the fast food industry. A lot of them work for Walmart, right? One of the largest retailers in America. And Walmart wasn't really paying them, and they were getting rich. That's a whole other story. How America was basically subsidizing Walmart's ability to not pay people, and American taxpayers like, it's okay, we'll pay them, we'll keep them fed, and that's bullshit. Okay, that's another thing, because it's pulling the cover off of all of these lies we've been telling ourselves about what the reality is that we're living in. If you are government assistance, you are not an independent woman. If you do not have a business or a business idea or some entrepreneurial engine working in your life on behalf of your family, you are not independent. Okay? You're dependent by proxy. So I'm glad it's a wake-up call. And yes, men, yes, it could be good for you. Because some women, somewhere, are going to start doing the math. And they're going to go, it's starting to look good now, Polly. It's starting to look good now, right? Bundle them up, teaming up. I think I can get along with his side chick. I think I can. Go ahead.
Niggas can't afford two wives.
Go ahead, T. You want to get in there?
I'm so sorry. I've been over here just boiling, like just waiting.
I can feel the steam. I'm going to fall
my God.
back.
Like Justin is like baiting and hooking me tonight. I don't know what's happening. Ladies, if a man says to you any of what Just Jay just says, run. Because any man who takes any misfortune that happens to anyone in the world and then says that because you was dating the government, that it gives them the ability to maybe come in and pay you $40 that they couldn't afford to pay you before, then, I mean, we have so much more to talk about than food stamps. I'm quite disappointed right now as so many people. I know that we're joking, we're bantering and things like that, but there's also this like very clear understanding that there is some truth to men actually feeling this way about women being reliant on the government. Well, I was actually one of those women. I was a single mom in school with 2 kids, working 2 full-time jobs, and I was on food stamps. I had Section 8 at a certain point where I was doing all of those things. And I think that while we joke, we forget that most of the people on food stamps are not working for Walmart, but are working in regular 9-to-5 positions. And also, we take for granted the fact that the cost of living has went up and that people's income hasn't. So anytime you see someone who's disadvantaged and working at Walmart and has to go and get food stamps, you're mad at the wrong person in the relationship then. You should be mad at the people that you think that are courting us and dating us and who think that are giving us enough money to feed our children, because even if they are, milk is $7. So when I hear a man who wants to talk shit about a woman and encouraging her to sell pussy because milk is expensive and they're cutting off food stamps, because that's literally what you think. Oh, they're not giving you food stamps? You gonna need this $40, huh? Baby, I wouldn't take that $40 from you if you was the last nigga on earth. And I could be hungry and starving. I'll plant a rhubarb tree before I wait on you to give it to me. Because why would I ever consider giving you anything that you didn't deserve before because somebody taking something off my plate? Has nothing to do with you. I'll leave you in the dust that I left you in before. So I would just implore men, if you want a woman, don't say that. Don't do that, because we're going to require a greater sense of self and a greater knowledge of kind of who's on welfare, because primarily Caucasians, primarily working class people, primarily people who have children, but also elderly, disabled. Like, the food stamp joke can go far, but it's like life and death for people. Kids already don't eat until they get to school. And now the one meal that they may have on Saturday morning of grits and whatever is now taken because of what? Give me your $40. I can do something with it.
And I'm mad at the red herring of old coochie you just threw out there. When am I talking about the old coochie? We were not talking about the geriatrics. You just threw it out there for the sympathy. And no, ma'am.
The kids
please disregard that. Disregard that.
Just strike that from the record.
Wait, kids aren't sympathy enough? I got to bring out the granny coup in order for you to feel bad? Run.
You did pull the granny box card.
There's cougars out there. It's called Cougar Kitty. As a matter of fact, we got a shirt on the BLC store. Cougar Kitty. Catch yours now.
You know, I do think I would say the $40 holler is back, but due to inflation, I think it's now like $63. So we're not going to shortchange the ladies, you know, their inflationary adjusted holler. Listen, I think this is a long time coming. To Tia's point, we do have to make distinctions. We're not talking about the elderly. The kids had nothing to do with this. Now, why you are having raw relations and you can't feed yourself, that's kind of weird and kind of irresponsible. We need guys to go buy like a $4 box of condoms or whatever they are. I don't know. That seems like that would have been the cheaper way to go. So not only do I have to pay for my own kids, I got to subsidize yours too. I mean, I don't even get a thank you card or, you know, a edible arrangement or so. I think I feel kind of bad about that actually. You know, back in the day, you had to be really careful about who you got pregnant by, because the guy had to have a job at the factory. He couldn't be dusty, couldn't be a bum, because you couldn't afford it. There was no safety net. That man was your safety net. Now you can be like, okay, well, he's dusty and he can't find his birth certificate and he reads with his finger, but you know what? He's got a Gucci belt. So I'm going to go ahead and go for it. And if it doesn't work out, you know, it's okay. It doesn't matter, because I can always just go get on housing for like $27 a month and get some WIC and some SNAP, and we're going to be good. If you didn't have that parachute, your coochie management will have to be a lot better. You'd have to be a lot more judicious with your cooch about who you let shoot up the club. And I think that's the point that Jay is getting at, right? That's the poor coochie managed subsidy that we're talking about. And the government is making that possible. And I feel really bad about that. Now, I'm not talking about people who you need it temporarily, you know, couple of months, you know, get on your feet. Life happens. I'm okay with that. I'm talking about this is your lifestyle. You are going to Miami multiple times a year. You're going to Vegas because your rent's $27 a month, and you're buying $300 worth of crab legs and steak and Oreos and the flaming hot Doritos, which are quite tasty. I'm all for that shit. Just buy it with your money. I'm okay with that. That's all I'm saying. That was my inner right wing, to the right of Genghis Khan side of me that I have not let out too often, but it came out for this segment. So shout out to me.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in super quick and say this, right? While we got folks clapping and all that good stuff, I understand exactly where you're coming from, but you know what though? I think that what we're neglecting is that it took two to have that partner. You put all the responsibility on the woman in regards to the having the baby, and I understand why.
No,
Because she's
I
the one.
didn't. I said they should have got condoms. The man is responsible too. Raw sex is for winners. You use condoms, sir. You are not there yet. You are
Okay,
not
I
in the winner's
support that.
circle.
Okay, I support you adding that piece right there and clarifying. So let me pull back a little bit then and say this. So the $40 coochie and holla, as well as talking about, oh, you
63.
can't. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for adjusting for inflation. $63. Coochie and holla. I think that ultimately these men who are looking at that and seeing this as an opportunity, one, is disgusting. Two, I also think that this speaks to those, I bet they thought they were nice guys too. As a matter of fact, I think they're walking around right now saying, yeah, I'm a nice guy, but I always finish last. But now I got this opportunity. I got this opportunity to get me some $63 cooch. Let me just go buy her some groceries. Let me go get that $7 milk. Now I'm about to get it, which once again proves the transactional piece of the nice guy, whereas a persona that's showing up, but is actually rooted in toxicity because they're looking to get something that they don't necessarily deserve. However, with that being said, let's talk about that strong. Did you raise your hand, sir?
I did raise my hand. Just
Go ahead. I
a
like that.
point of clarification. Over the past few shows, I thought we established that women liked transactional relationships. I thought that I could be wrong. Are women now taking the position that they do not like transactional relationships?
So let me go ahead and clarify. Over the course of several episodes, it wasn't that women were saying we like transactional relationship. We're saying that the relationship have been reduced to just transaction, which is why so many men be up in their feelings when they think they're being taken advantage of by women because they went into the relationship leading with their wallets first and foremost and not recognizing that they still needed emotional intelligence, which is why some of the men who yell traditional isn't getting traditional and hate modern women because they didn't evolve to include that emotional intelligence piece. So that's what we're saying. But I like the way you try to throw that in there because and it's still wrong because it's still predatory in nature. Now, we did talk about men pursuing and whatnot. So I appreciate him wanting to pursue that woman, even if it's under the wrong guise of let me get her that $63 and this meal for her kids, because he pointed out that they're pursuing women with kids. And it was like these women already had enough going on their plate. So hopefully these women are practicing discernment as well because they're being now single mothers is the rave then I guess because of this whole thing. I just want to walk back one point and say this. The strong independent woman narrative, it bothers me because we act like that wasn't out of necessity. We act like that narrative didn't arise out of survival. We act like that narrative didn't come from men being removed from the home by force or by through policies and social constructs and so forth, or by their own declaration of leaving or by poor choices on behalf of the woman or the man, right? So we act like that strong independent woman. And while I myself believe that it is a stereotype that we took and ran with it to our detriment, i.e. we overdid it, but we act like that's not what it was rooted in, that it wasn't rooted in survival. And so for basically all these men are saying, hey, we don't think you can survive. And I'm just like, actually, that's not true because women historically will come together to uplift the community. This is a time where we'll probably see more women operate under the village concept and look out for each other because that's also what was part of survival. We're used to surviving. Now this whole part, oh, I don't need a man. So that was a narrative that was put on us as well. Right. And it was a false narrative because I see some women who may say, oh, well, I don't need a man, but they're not saying I don't need a man to say I don't want a man. There's a difference. See, women were saying I don't need a man. They want a man. Because when you need somebody, that means you need them for survival. You need them for, it's a necessity. But to say, I want somebody, it means they're choosing you. They want you to be with you because they value who you are and past whatever you can provide for those basic necessities in life. And that's the part of the conversation men forget. It wasn't, I don't need a man, it's I want a man. There's a difference between that. But hey, I'm just going to say for me personally, because I actually did research on all of this, and Tia already pointed out who actually benefits the most from SNAP benefits and overall welfare benefits. And so I think that is just I'm saddened to see what's happening. And I'm also sad to see how people are going to take advantage of this. I wouldn't be surprised if more scams pop up, and not just scamming women out of cooch. And there are going to be some women who probably be like, you know what? You bought me $200 worth of groceries. You gonna get this tonight. I wouldn't be surprised because groceries expensive.
Yeah. He gonna come through with the groceries, and she's gonna put on Paw Patrol, and
I
when
wouldn't
the
be
women close the
surprised.
door.
You know what I'm
So,
saying? It's
Jay, how
First
do you
time
feel
it's
about
next.
How
S&M
is this a
submission?
scam?
I feel like you're like incredulous. I can feel it coming through the screen.
There's a lot wrong here. First, how is it a scam? Okay, it's not a scam. If she wants to trade some booty for some books, that's not a scam. It's only a scam if he tells her, "I'm gonna rock your world too, girl," and he don't. Okay, girl, you got scammed because you thought you could get some good, and you just got some. So yeah, okay, then you got scammed. Otherwise, you guys are making a trade. Okay, now it's funny because I think, okay, yes, there are lots of different people who are on government assistance, okay? And all jokes aside, as an economics major, I feel for you. I truly do. I know how hard this is. I know that people are just barely making it. But let's also take into account that if we are relying on anything, then when that thing is gone, we're going to have to go without or find a new way to get it. And all the guys with the $40 are saying is, if you thought you were too good, okay, for my $40, okay, then you keep thinking that way, okay? But if you suddenly decide you are not too good for my $40, is it because you can no longer sell your food stamps? And if that's the case, should you be calling yourself an independent woman at any point in time? That's the question at hand. And to that I say, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. Go ahead, as I'm saying.
I wanted to clarify super quickly that when I talked about scam, I wasn't talking about the transactional of $63/$40 for cooch. I was actually talking about the possibility of scammers arising more so from like ATM scams and so forth. Because whenever there's a deficit somewhere, somebody else, that's when crime actually increases because you're taking away the basic necessity. I also want to point out too that needing community support, i.e. these food stamps, isn't actually weakness, it's economics. Because we've already identified that we're all in hard times. There's people, and as a matter of fact, this was created as a result of the Great Depression. And when they fell on hard times and had to do the food pantries, and the churches didn't really step up like they used to. And so this was created as a result of that. And so I think that for us to act like community or this assistance from the government or even any type of assistance is something that's negative is also part of the reason why we're in the situation that we're in today, is also a reason why so many people voted against their own interests because they were viewing that these are all so-called entitlements and so forth versus recognizing that sometimes safety nets are needed in the community because, as we already pointed out, Walmart's not paying, Amazon's not paying, fast food's not paying. So all these people, we have 15 years of stagnation in wages from $7.25. And we just heard milk like $7 and wages have been minimum wage, $7.25 across the board for the most part. And so that's why this subsidy exists. Now, as far as men taking advantage of it, if the women are down, like I already pointed out, there are going to be some women like, oh, you got me, yay. And that's cool. It is what it is. I'm not knocking that either. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's a little creepy for these men to be broadcasting it this way. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So I think we coming to the end of the show here. And so I just want to get some final thoughts as we wrap this up. And since we started off with ladies first, okay, that's my song. That was my song back in the day. But anyways, Tia B.
I have enjoyed myself. I missed y'all so much. I love all the toxic displays of masculinity that we continue to present to the world and allow me the opportunity, the gun and come for you all as frequently as I was able to tonight. It definitely feels like home. I love the topics that we touched on. I think although it's a little tinge of joking and shit talking, we're always talking about something relevant that matters to people. And so I do appreciate some of the insight into that, not only the $40 hollers, but of course the food stamps and what we all bring to the table. So thank y'all for letting me join this week and kind of, come in guns a-blazing. And yeah, I love it. Great show.
All right. And since we had just Jay with so much to say, what you got now, sir?
I just want to end by saying thank you guys for allowing me to suffer through with this terrible voice as I'm not feeling my best. But I had a great time, great conversation. Glad to have Tia back. Fire exchanges. Didn't know how much I missed it. And on one final note, on a serious note, y'all, what we're learning today and what we're learning in the current state of politics and socioeconomics is that nothing is promised. And yes, these programs were a safety net to catch people when they fail. They were never intended to be hammocks. Nobody should have been sleeping on them. Nobody should have been living on them. Okay? The only people you can count on is hopefully yourself and maybe your community. And if you can't find your community, it's time to start building a community because the rest of the world is not going to take care of us. It's not going to take care of you. It does not care. And you're not going to be able to make it care. So take care of the people you care about. Work on building a community. Be each other's safety net because the time of other people randomly doing for other people may be at its end. And if it's not at its end, it's certainly on a timeout. God bless you and good night.
All right. I love the whole preacher moment there. I almost gave you a soapbox and everything. It was like, woo, woo, amen in the background. But Delvin, what are your final thoughts?
And listen, all this talk about, the relationships and great divorces and why people are staying together, why they're not wanting good people. I'm wondering how this whole snap thing is going to affect cuffing season because, it's getting cool outside, man. Thanksgiving's coming up and, it's getting cold outside. So I'm wondering if, people can say, you know what? I don't really need to, be single this cuffing season. I'm going to go ahead and just try to work this out. They're getting on my nerves. I'm just going to go in the room and take a nap and hope everything works out when I get up. So, I think we're all we got. And we got to stay together. So, don't get caught out there without your snap. Matter of fact, ladies, if you got a snap, holler at me in the next couple of hours because I want to get some crab legs. So, just hit your boy up.
Sir, first of all, I just want you to know that they kind of changed the program from my understanding, and crab legs is off the menu along with them Oreos and hot Cheetos. There's only so many things that you can now get that are SNAP approved. But regardless of the case, it sounds like the hobosexuals have something to compete with the snaposexuals. So we got the hobosexual on one side and the snaposexuals on the other side. So basically, you just need to get in where you fit in and go from there. It looked like we're winning all around. For me, this whole episode was about bills, aka the bills you gotta pay, the thrills, i.e. boredom and chaos that come from men waiting because they say, hey, nice guys are finishing last simply because we are boring, as well as the dollar bills because everything boils back down to the finances and whatnot. And so just keep that in mind as we continue to move out in this hard world, especially within this economic time. Like everybody said, community is important. It takes a village, and sometimes you got to build that village from start, even if that means waiting 5 years to get to that village. And with that being said, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and all that good shit. Here at the BLC Pod, we definitely checking you out. And so on behalf of the BLC Pod, and welcome back, Tia B, we are out. And we're back for our overdrive segment. Yes, we are not done. You thought we was toxic before. We might be borderline on toxic in this episode, but I'm going to go ahead and kick it to Tia B because just like the overdrive, we coming back with BLC. Tia B is back on the show. So Tia B.
Super excited to be here. You guys know I had to spin the block. And speaking of spinning the block, it wouldn't be right if I didn't talk about my girl, Amy Luciani. She was recently married to Dwight Howard for a number of months, and they ended up trying to get a divorce. Do you know the girl came back out recently talking about that she shouldn't have left her man and trying to give pro tips to other women about what to do in order to keep their husband. Now, keep in mind, Dwight Howard comes with receipts before the marriage. That there was a lot of hoopla going on from his previous relationships, specifically his baby mama, Royce Reed, who was talking about his possible infidelities and his sexual proclivities. We not hating on that. But is that a part of what Amy really left for? And, is Amy just coming back to spin the block because her options are few and his money is up and she's an unknown rapper from Florida? Like, what do you guys think? Like, how do you feel about her giving wife tips out and now giving suggestions after she tried to, cut off the beard of her 6-month relationship and do something different?
I think that she's well within her bounds to admit that she made a mistake. And I think that she is also well within her bounds to be transparent and say, hey, you know what? I was starting to make a move and it's not the move I want. One of the things that I respect about Malcolm X, and she's no Malcolm X, but it's that he really believed something wholeheartedly. He was preaching all around about what he believed until he went to Mecca and he had a different experience. And then he was mature enough and he had enough integrity to say, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I saw it wrong. Let me tell you how I got it wrong. She didn't get divorced. She filed for divorce. And I wish more people would think about a step and not go, oh, well, I've already gone this far. I got to go the rest of the way. Once you realize you're going in the wrong direction, the best thing you can do is course correct. And she did that. And most of what she said on this post is about course correcting. It's about not being carried away by your emotions. It's about not being swept away by your own narrative and the feel that now that you've started something, you got to keep rolling with it because you're already gone down this far. She talked about women taking a minute, taking a beat, and then trying to look at the situation from a perspective other than their own. Trying to look at it from their spouse's perspective. Trying to go, hey, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm responding in such a way. Or even if it's not me, how can I move myself so that this is not as much of a problem? How can if I can't bend the spoon for all my Matrix fans, right? How can I learn to realize that the spoon doesn't have to bend? I just have to bend based on what I understand about the spoon. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her for marrying a man who was who eventually was transparent with the skeletons in his closet, right? Who had some things being said about him. I guess he owned them. I guess she saw it. She said, I can work with that. And she took it on. I'm not less proud because she decided she couldn't. But I'm even more proud that instead of her being afraid that the public would label her as a flip-flop because they either want to see her with somebody or want to see Dwight Howard without somebody, I'm proud that she could do what she thought was best for herself and her spouse. And the message it sends to other women is, what's more important than saving your face is saving your happiness and saving your peace. And sometimes, a lot of times, that might just mean holding your peace so you can save your marriage. That's what I think.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. This is maybe the first time that I might have agreed with you tonight. But then I remember what I'm wearing. And so I was like, as beautiful as that sounded, I'm calling bullshit on why she did this. I'm calling bullshit. And I'm going to go with, like I said, it's beautiful if that's how it happened. As a matter of fact, I was going to go along the lines of, hey, women are allowed to have emotional moments and change their mind. That's what we do. That's what people do. We can do those things. We also had the whole fact that she's learning in public. She's learning in public. I'm talking about all his dirt has been exposed. Everything from him being a bottom to everything else has been exposed and whatnot. And she went into that relationship openly, knowing all these things, but then she wanted to file for divorce 6 months later. Now, note, she did point out that he also wanted to file for divorce at the same time, which is also an interesting fact. Then I thought about the fact that, they talk about this, we're in a microwave convenience culture, right? And so she did the 6 months and was like, oh, I don't like it. I'm going to file for divorce. And, but she changed and she course corrected, as you mentioned. And I was like, wow, that's great. She took a moment to reassess and reflect. So she reflected, reassessed, and decided to stay. And all of that, I would like to say she did it from a genuine place. And I still say bullshit because what she did it from, she asked for a half in that divorce settlement. Half. She wanted half. And she discovered, oh, ma'am, you only been with him for 6 months. You're not getting half. You're going to get maybe a little bitty piece. She discovered that they were not living in a community property state. And even if they were living in a community property, the community property would have been in what they've gathered together in the marriage itself, not the property that he had before. So I don't necessarily think it was true that she was doing this because she took a moment to reassess and think about what she had going on and how great her marriage is and whatnot. Because let's not forget, he also filed. And so was it a battle of who's going to file first? And then did she realize that she wasn't going to walk away with much? And that's when she said, you know what? I need to reflect. Women, we need to shut up sometime. Now, some of her advice was on point. I ain't gonna lie about that because we do need to pick our battles. So I'm gonna say this is part of her rebrand because she realized without Dwight Howard, she was nothing again. She realized without him and his star presence, regardless of all the dirt and drama that was attached to him, she was back in La La Land where no one knew who the hell she was. And this was another opportunity for her to rebrand. So I support the business aspect of her rebrand. I support her giving actual good advice. I was shocked that she actually gave good advice. And she pointed out that she was a new young wife. And I'm like, you know what? All that is true. I support all of that. But I still call bullshit on it coming from an altruistic place. I believe she realized, I'm not going to get that half that I thought I was going to get. I figured I only had to invest 6 months. And now she had to circle the block, spin it back, just so she can say, maybe I need to stay a year. Let me see if I pop out a child and increase maybe $5 million from there. I wonder if they had a prenup in place. I don't know. It's their relationship. If he loves it and she loves it, then I love it for them.
Yeah, listen, man, you know what? I think it is the economics of it. She's realized, listen, I'm not going to get anything. I'm only 6 months in. I might have let my emotions get the better of me. I pulled the trigger too soon. It's kind of like what the thing with Brittany Renner tried. She's like, listen, even though I didn't have the baby in California, or I'm going to try to go file for child support in California and then, hit him that way. I'm like, ma'am, you live in Atlanta. Get the fuck out of here. So they're trying it. Look, if I'm not gonna lie to you, if I had that kind of Dwight Howard money, I wouldn't even get married. You're just gonna have to take being my longtime girlfriend, and I'll take you to the ESPY Awards and the Grammys, and that's gonna have to be good enough. Don't get any mail sent here though, because I don't want anybody to get any ideas. That's just what it is. Because then that's a record. You get a PO box. It's okay. You can stay the weekend. I'll get you a key made. Maybe you might have to work your way up to getting the key, but. Yeah, I mean, it's risky. I don't think you should. I don't even know how the relationship survives it. Because if I filed and you filed in 6 months, how do we come back from that? Do we just go in the room and lay down and be like, I think we were both tripping. We were just playing. I think they meant if I filed and you filed in 6 months, we meant that shit. This is just not meant to be. We should just get it annulled and go our separate ways. And you know what? It's not like you guys are getting a great divorce and the kids are in college and shit. Just wrap it up now. Just call it done. Actually, you know what? This particular situation, this is exactly why the great people of China changed their community property laws. They said any assets that the man had coming into the marriage, doesn't matter if he even puts your name on it after the fact, doesn't matter. They go by payment history. If I had a house and I had it 5 years before we got married, and I put you on the mortgage, and then we get divorced 6 months in, they're gonna be like, well, you can't split it's not community property because you've only been paying on the house for 6 months, and he's been paying on the house for 5 years. Get the fuck out of here. So shout out to China for living in the future and thinking of situations like this. Dwight Howard, if you get married in China, you won't have to deal with this shit.
If Dwight Howard married who he really liked, he probably wouldn't have to worry about this shit. I think it's all, I think not James Brown, Ray Charles had a song that it's cheaper to keep him, right? And so I just think that when it comes down to realizing that transactional part of the relationship and what the gives and takes are, we think love, consideration, children, and all that. And I'm thinking, nah, PR, publicity. One of them needs to smooth over the PR about them being possibly homosexual. We don't care. We like that. It's okay. And then the other one has to say, I am a nobody ass rapper from Florida with a brief stint on Love and Hip Hop where I acted an ass. And now I married this man who people are already like, it's not a good idea. And now I realize I can't get half. So, hey, do you want me to still be your pretend wife? Sure. Do you still want me to finance your small lifestyle? Sure. Everybody wins. It's cheaper to keep them. So I think that they both made the decision because what Delvin said was right. After 6 months, like you guys both wanted to out of here. It was a reason for that. You're coming back together now is more believable to be fake and just something created as opposed to being something genuine. So shout out to Amy Luciani for getting the bag and for Dwight Howard for, keeping his nuts in
So
his
you're
sack.
saying your conclusion is lavender marriage for the optics.
For the optics. That's why I say he cut off his beard, she being the beard. Mm-hmm.
Listen, in fairness, I cut off my beard while you were gone because my daughter wanted to see what it looked like with no beard because I've had a beard, her entire life. So I did it and the people got worried, but now I'm back.
Well, thank God I wasn't here for that.
I was like, sir, you don't want to conflate that beard with your beard.
Because, baby, that's not the same beard. A beard is an urban colloquialism used to mention that a woman is placed into a traditional heterosexual relationship in lieu of a homosexual relationship to pretend as if the man actually likes and loves the woman. She is a beard. She is a cover for his true desires.
My God. Jay, did you know this?
You guys are welcome. You're welcome. Transactions gets the best of it.
You've heard things?
Oh.
Jay's like, so look, I'm going to do it on Jay's behalf. He said, yes, he knew this. After all, he's a teacher, and even he knew what the beard meant. That's why I wanted to clear it up for you, because I didn't want you to put yourself in that category, because you may have looked like a shaved milk dud without the beard, but you wasn't using a beard in the manner that they was using the beard. You look great without the beard, and I appreciate your daughter wanting to take an opportunity to see what you look like underneath the beard. But yeah, that's two different things. You was not this beard. And
this is a sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't type beard.
Not the nuts in your throat, though. Or maybe it is. Wait.
It's the same.
The regardless, I appreciate the John Cena contract, right? Because basically what you described was the John Cena contract where you don't ever get into you're in a committed relationship, but you have a contract in place to determine visitation, keys to the house, everything, no kids, everything put out in writing because I like it, the John Cena contract. And so do y'all got anything else? Or are we good on this? We good? We good? I feel like we good. So with that being said, do we have anything that we want to sell? As we see, I always got Black Women Need Love Too, a book about relationships, self-love, and community. And while I was a little bit toxic on the show tonight, just recognize that I do love the community. You can find the book anywhere, everywhere, and on Amazon. Anybody else with anything to sell?
You know what it is. Houston Cigar Week 2026. Get your tickets, HoustonCigarWeek.com.
So
if you need a therapist, holler at your girl.
And on behalf of Just Jay, a.k.a. Mr. Goodwoods, check him out. His throat is done. It's a wrap. And just like this show, so we out. It's a wrap. Peace.
Peace. Justin says peace.